Hi friends, allow me to welcome you to another week-long makeup-related challenge here on my channel. I know a lot of you enjoyed the singles cruise, and thank you so much to David for inspiring that challenge. And it really has got me thinking about different things that I can do like that prompt me to dive into different products in my collection, things you maybe haven't seen me using a whole lot, and just really putting me on the spot to draw something out and make a look with it. So while eyeshadow singles in that video, you know, that really spotlighted how underused they are in my collection, I really thought the same thing about a lot of my different quads and trios, both from the drugstore and high-end brands. You know, palettes take over and we start using those for every single look, it seems like. So my first thought was, I'm just going to dump all of my eyeshadow quads and trios that I don't feel like I've touched in a long time into a bag, and each day I'll just draw one out. And then I saw, you know, I had a lot of neutrals. I thought, what if I pull out the same kind of look every day? So if you want to try that, go for it, but for a little bit more entertainment value for this series and to keep the looks from all seeming exactly the same, I decided to divide things up for 5 days. So 5 different bags that I'll be drawing from. One contains all of the eyeshadow quads that I would classify as neutrals. Then on another day of this challenge, I will draw from my high-end bag. So anything, you know, kind of outside of that drugstore price range is in there. I also have a bag full of any colorful quads and trios that have not been getting enough love lately. I put together a bag of smoky type quads, so just really deep dark color selection with those. And then I think this last one's going to be really fun. I have a bag full of duds, so quads and trios that I know aren't very pigmented, just are not the best quality at all, and it's going to be my challenge to make one of those work on the last day of this. So I'm really excited. This is going to be fun. I so enjoyed the singles cruise, and I hope that through this challenge you might be inspired to try the same thing at home, or just get some inspiration maybe for some different eye looks. Hopefully I can do some interesting things this week. Here's the rules I'm going to lay out for this. You have to use every shade in the quad or trio that you draw out, and just like the singles cruise, you can pull in any bases that you want to use, like cream shadow bases. You can pull in any liners, any mascaras, any false lashes. That's all up to you. So I think it's going to be a really fun week, and thank you so much for watching. Okay, so here we are starting out on day 1. I'm going to start with my neutral shadows. So, you know, just kind of letting me get warmed up. I'll shake it all up here, grab the first thing I touch, and it is from Avon. Ooh, I bet you guys haven't seen me use this one. And it is a very basic neutral quad here. So we've got Mocha Latte. This is a true color eyeshadow quad. They actually feel really, really smooth to the touch, especially the mattes. There's only one shade with a little bit of shimmer, and that's that kind of bronzy color right there, but this is super basic, so it is the epitome of neutral. So my first step for my neutral quad look, I covered my lids with Milani eyeshadow primer, and then I used my Sigma E25 brush to apply that medium brown in my crease just to get a little base color going there. I blended that out and I applied the light color, which might just have a teeny bit of sheen. I used that up under my brow, and then I decided to use a lot of this rich dark brown, which is really pigmented and it applies really nicely. I wanted that shade to go all over my lid, into the crease a little bit, shape the outer V just a bit, and then I blended over any harsh edges that I had there, and I went back with the light shade to just brighten up a bit right around the innermost corner. Then I moved on to my eyeliner. I used my Jordana Color Envy Black Liquid Liner in the shade Black Envy. Just went across my upper lash line with a little bit of a wing at the end. On my lower inner rim, I used this new Makeup Geek liner in the shade Nude. I just popped that in there for a little added brightness, and then I smudged the dark brown on the outer part of my lower lash line, and with a pencil brush I used that bronzy shade with a little bit of shimmer all across the rest of my lash line. And I decided to use a really wispy white brush, my Sigma E36, with that same shade kind of as a transition just above my crease. Then I curled my lashes. I used my CoverGirl Supersizer mascara on my top lashes, and I used CoverGirl Clump Crusher Water Resistant on my lower lashes, and I chose to pop on some false lashes as well. These are the Salon Perfect 615s, and the finished look I think is very wearable for every day. You know, wear the false lashes or skip the false lashes, but these kinds of colors I think are really workable for any person, any skin tone, and this happened to be, I think, a really good, really underrated type quad. Every shade applied really nicely. I think I might have liked to have seen just a little bit more intensity out of that bronzy color. It's still pretty, but definitely I think the story strength was in these colors right here. And I just wanted to let you know what else I put on my face, because I started with foundation and all that on, and every day I'll let you know what blush and highlight and lip color I added in. So in the spirit of throwing back to old stuff, I got this Coralista blush out from Benefit and I applied that. Then a product I don't think I've talked about a whole lot, my Laura Mercier Matte Radiance Bake Powder. I used that for kind of a subtle highlight, but there's still some glow happening on the cheeks. And then on the lips, I went for this bright kind of pinky coral with the Tarte Lipsurgence lip tint in the color called Elite. So that's all over my lips. I really like that color. It's kind of a fresh shade. So thanks for watching this look, and I will see you tomorrow. Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Shaking up my high-end shadow bag. I'm just going to draw in and pull out the first thing I touch, which is, it's a palette from The Balm. And this is kind of interesting because it's got 3 shadows in it. It also includes a blush. So I guess that's the blush I'll be using today as well. But it is the Hawaii face palette. It's from that little Auto Balm line. So see how it actually looks like a driver's license? It's so cute. So it looks like it's going to be a cool taupey deep plum type of look today. And then there's that blush. As usual, the Balm's blushes don't disappoint. That one kind of reminds me of the Instain blush in the shade called Lace, a really bright, cool pink. So to start off this look, I thought it would be nice to have kind of a metallic base for that taupe to exaggerate the shine of the color even more. So I used Cruisin' Chic from e.l.f. It's one of their smudge pots. Then I used my small shadow brush with this lid shade from the little mini palette, and I dabbed that all over my lids, really packed it on. And I also used this matte highlighter shade just around my inner corner to brighten up a bit there. Then I cleaned off my brush a little bit and went into this deep dark plum, and I worked that right into the crease without really getting any of that shadow on the lid. I just wanted the lids to be their own kind of pop for this look. And I wedged it in there, and then I was careful to just blend around the edge of that shade with a bare brush instead of getting onto my lid and muddying up the 2 shades. I also used the matte highlight up under my brow, and then I went across my upper lash line with the Too Faced sketch marker in black. I just went straight across the lash line, didn't wing anything out. And on my lower lash line, I used a dark plum liner. Any plum will do, but I used the Smashbox Always Sharp in 3D Orchid, and just applied that to my lower inner rim and smudged it downward a bit. And then I smudged the matte plum just on top of that to sort of soften that look a little bit. On my upper lashes for mascara, after curling them, I used the Laura Geller Style Lash Intense Lengthening Mascara, which is okay. It's good, but not great for me. And then I used my CoverGirl Clump Crusher Water Resistant on my lower lashes. And I decided to go without any falsies today, and I really enjoyed the finished look, actually. I think this is a super wearable, everyday look with a hint of smokiness the way I did the lower lash line, but you could definitely change that if you want to. I am wearing the blush, and it's so brightening. These kinds of like bright pink shades, they give such a look of health to the face, and I love that, but a very little bit goes a long way. So even though this is kind of a mini palette with what seem like smaller size shadows, you definitely have a lot of bang for your buck with each one. And then for my lips, I decided to go kind of nude today. I used this mini Studded Kiss lipstick from Kat Von D, and this is in the shade, what was it? I think it was Noble. Yeah, so I applied that all over the lips. It's kind of a pinky nude, and then I used my Too Faced Perfect Lips in Perfect Spice just to kind of add a little definition, a teeny bit of depth on the outside. So that is the Tuesday look. I will see you guys tomorrow. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Today is colorful day. Every quad or trio in this bag has at least 1 or 2 shades that are pretty colorful in it, and since it's in my rules that I have to use every shade in the quad or trio, I definitely am going to make this a colorful look. So I'm just going to reach in, grab the first one. I grab, it's a Revlon one, and this, awesome. I'm happy about this. This is the shade Wild. It's got this bright kind of matte teal, bright orange, and then you've got your shimmery white and like a shimmery beige as well. The shimmers do have kind of a lightweight sort of flaky texture, but those mattes, I tell you what, very surprising. I remember thinking that the first time I got this. As far as Revlon shadow quads go, you know, they're not necessarily the best in the drugstore, but those mattes are fantastic. Stayed up late watching the Olympics, so the eyes were a little tired here, but put on my Milani eyeshadow primer. Then I started off with the sort of beigey shimmery shade all over my lids. Really does not have a lot of impact, but laid that down as kind of a base color. Then applied applied a little bit of the lighter shade more on the inner part of my lid. And then things get interesting with this matte orange. I just took to the crease with that with my E25 brush, and I knew I wanted this all over the top part of the eye and just really sheared out. So that's why I used kind of a medium to large size crease brush for this step. And I got that really buffed out over each eye. I also just used a sponge tip to dab a little bit more of that orange right on the outer part of the lid, just to, I don't know, create a little bit more of a flow with that color. And then I also brightened things up a bit more on the inner part by adding some more of the white shadows. So finishing off the top part of the eye, I applied some black liquid liner, Jordana Color Envy, all across the upper lash line with a little bit of a wing at the outside. And then we're kind of color blocking this look. So I've got the blue on the bottom. I'm using this Milani Shadow Eyes. The shade is called Aquatic Style. And I applied that to my inner rim as well as the entire lower lash line as a base. And then I used my little bit deeper teal shadow with a smudge brush, mostly on the outer part of the lower lash line. And then I kind of faded in with whatever was left on my brush toward the inside. And I just think that gave a really cool effect. But then I curled my lashes. I applied my Flower Beauty Zoom In Ultimate Mascara to my upper and lower lashes. And then I put on my Huda Beauty Samantha false lashes to add a little extra flair. And I think the finished look is so fun. It's definitely dramatic from a great distance. You might not see, you know, all the colorful detail, but once you look up close, you can tell, yep, there's definitely some brightness happening there. I was really pleased with the way it turned out, considering, you know, I haven't always had the best experience with Revlon shadows. So I will see you tomorrow for a smoky look. Hey guys, long time no see, here for Thursday. This is the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4th day of this challenge, and I have my bag today of smoky eyeshadows. So I'm just going to draw in and grab the Silent Treatment from Wet n Wild. There's a classic that I have not picked up in so long, and I absolutely love this trio. I think, you know, this is phenomenal quality. There's a really dark shade in here that is going to make a great smoky eye, and I think this is going to be able to pull off a Carrie Underwood smoky eye. See, I'm re-inspired on Carrie Underwood's makeup because when I saw her live at the Grand Ole Opry just about a week ago, I could really tell like what her makeup was doing in person. It's kind of crazy. She had a super dark, like it's kind of her signature thing, smoky eye, like it was just dark, dark, dark all the way around. So I think I can probably pull that off with this trio. Definitely one of my favorites from Wet n Wild. You've got a peach, that really dark shade, and then this pretty taupe. Okay, Carrie Underwood smoky eye. First thing I did, I used a base on my lids. It's the Balm Batter Up stick in the shade Night Game. And I applied that all over my lids and blended that out with my Real Techniques shading brush and just got a nice smooth dark base on there. So with my Sonia Kashuk small shadow brush, I patted that color all over the lid, a little bit into the crease. This look didn't have like a huge shape. The look that kind of inspired me didn't have some huge outer V to it, so I just kind of kept it to the shape of my eye. And then I blended a lot around the outer edges just to soften that up as much as possible, but it's a really dark shade. Then I used the light peachy shade under the brow and just kind of on the edge of my look to help further soften things out a little bit. And I went across my upper lash line with my Too Faced sketch marker in black. And then on my lower inner rim, I used Maybelline's Master Precise Skinny in defining black on the inner rim and also smudged it down below. Then I used a little bit more of my darkest shade in Silent Treatment just to kind of blend over that. And then I pulled for the taupe in this trio just to kind of further soften things up as I went inward. And then I curled my lashes. I applied CoverGirl Supersizer to my upper lashes, Clump Crusher Water Resistant to the lower lashes. Salon Perfect 615s are the false lashes that I use, just kind of a nice little routine there. And the finished look is super deep and dark, and I'm very, very happy with it actually. This is a look I might try to bust out more often. This is one of my new Makeup Geek blushes that I ordered. It's in the shade Puppy Love, so it's a matte, sort of like soft rosy shade. And then Carrie Underwood I find doesn't do a huge glow to her skin. A lot of times she looks really matte, so I just used my Laura Geller Baked French Vanilla highlight on top of the cheeks. And then the lip is very, very nude. I used Max Myth lipstick and I blended with that just kind of on my lips around the outside. I used my e.l.f. Praline. And an interesting thing about Carrie Underwood's smoky eyes, you know, she will often do a really dark eye look like this, but the whites of her eyes, her eyes still look extremely bright and wide open. And I do think the false lashes help with that, even though the lashes may not be standing out as much as they normally would just because they've got this dark backdrop. Something about that really does still, you know, kind of lift open the eyes and keep you looking wide awake despite a lot of darkness. So just a little tip there. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you for my last look tomorrow. All right, guys, TGIF. I've got my last bag, but this may be the hardest day because everything in here is something I feel is a dud. It's a quad or a trio that lacks pigmentation. It might just be flaky. The colors don't show up. The texture seems off with the product, but something I still had in my collection. So I'm going to try to make it work. I might add in certain bases or liners or do whatever I have to do to dress these up and make them look good. So I'm gonna go ahead and dip in here. And by the way, the reason why I'm just grabbing the first thing I touch and not really rummaging around is because I don't want to feel around and like identify the way a certain thing feels and know what I'm getting, you know, because I am pretty familiar with most of these things. So I'm just gonna grab in and, oh, lovely. This is, oh, this is not a good one. This is from Maybelline. It's called Sandstone Shimmer. Like if everything in this quad was pigmented, I would love this because I think it's a really pretty and kind of unique color selection. But seriously, look at that. Gold? Where are you? Did you come out to play today? I mean, the only saving grace of this quad might be this dark shade right here, but I'm gonna have to use all the colors and make it work. Well, I think the best way to get impact out of a shade outside of just using an eyeshadow primer is to use a coordinating colored base. So I'm using this caviar stick from Laura Mercier in Copper all over both of the lids, used a little brush to kind of blend that out a bit, but it really should help this gold pop a bit more, and that is what I found. I just used the sponge tip applicator with that shade, and it was so weak without any kind of base, so this helped a lot. And then I continued on the outer part of the lid, patting on that burgundy shade, which was also pretty weak and flaky, but you'll notice it stands out much more on top of this base. Then I decided to use a fluffy brush with that burgundy and just blended that up into my crease. I blended around the edges and used the white up under the brow, which again, kind of a sheer shade, but I don't mind it being sheer in this capacity as a brow bone highlight. And then I just wanted to deepen up my outer corner with some of that dark brown, which was actually a decent shadow. And I threw way back to my Essence of Beauty fine crease brush to just apply that right to the outer part of my crease. Across the upper lash line, I tried a brown liquid liner. This is the Too Faced Sketch Marker in Deep Espresso, and so I just went all the way across and winged it out. And then on the lower lash line, I used this deep brown from Soap and Glory and just got that in my inner rim and also smudged a little bit below. To top that off, I used my smudge brush with a little bit of the brown shadow and then decided I needed a little bit more base color, so I brought in the caviar stick for the rest of the lower lash line and then kind of faded gold back into burgundy just to give a little bit of a shimmery pop down there. I curl my lashes. I applied my Supersizer mascara to my top lashes, my CoverGirl Plump Crusher water resistant to the lower lashes, and then I popped on these false lashes from Kiss, which are kind of fluttery and pretty but not too intense. And I really hope I did you guys proud with the finished look. It's very fall-like. I really like that about it, and I just did the best I could with the shadows given. Again, if you weren't using a base, you would just have a lot of flakiness and frustration, and I did still feel like I was packing on the color quite a bit on top of the base, but you know, the finished result is totally workable. Still not a product I would wholeheartedly recommend, but if some of you are sitting around with Maybelline Sandstone Shimmer and you want an idea of how to use it, there you go. I used this great blush from NARS that I've had for quite some time. It's Dolce Vita, and I just think that's a really pretty kind of berry reddish blush. And then I used my Laura Geller Gilded Honey highlight. That's what's giving me the nice glow on top of the cheeks. And then on the lips, I used some Charlotte Tilbury Bond Girl, and plus I blended in a little bit of my e.l.f. matte lip color in Praline, which I think was kind of a mixer shade from yesterday's look, and it made it a little bit deeper copper, brownish, just a little dark. So thank you guys so much for watching this 5-day challenge. I really encourage you to try something similar at home if you feel like you've got a bunch of quads and trios that have just not been getting enough love lately. Just toss them into a bag, you know, pull one out and force yourself to kind of be creative and come up with some sort of look with it. And for me, just thinking back to all these looks, most of the shadows I pulled out I actually did like. You know, that Avon neutral quad was really nice from day one. I enjoyed the Auto Balm palette that I used from the Balm. And then we got into that colorful day with the Revlon Color Stay quad, and I actually really enjoyed the way that one turned out. I knew Silent Treatment, there's a classic, you know, again, things that are great but I haven't been reaching for. And then the Sandstone Shimmer, I mean, that might have ended up being one of my favorite looks just because I really like the tones, but not the easiest to work with, but we made it go. So you rediscover some things, you get surprised about some things, and it's kind of refreshing, you know, in a makeup world where there's always something new coming out. So thank you guys again so much. I love that you're always so supportive of different ideas, original video ideas, and you make doing things like this fun. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.